All right, Dolphins and Broncos coming up on Sunday. It's the first opportunity for the Dolphins to show out in front of their hometown fans at Hard Rock Stadium. What feels like a long time coming, especially considering the fact of the matter is they're off to a 2-0 start. They've looked great on the road twice, and now the Dolphins welcome in an 0-2 Broncos team that not only is struggling on the field, but there might be a little turmoil going on in the locker room. So let's get it started right away. Need you to predict that score in the comments. Let me know what you think the score is going to be between the Dolphins and the Broncos on Sunday. It's an early game. Also worth noting, the Dolphins in 3 games have played the night game, Sunday Night Football against the Patriots, and then in Week 1, they were the later game on the West Coast in L.A., so that's a 4 o'clock start locally in Miami. And now they have the early game at 1 o'clock, so 3 different time slots. And let me know if you're as confident as I am in the Dolphins. I like Miami to win this one 31-17. I think there are plenty of areas in which they can exploit that weaker Denver defense. We'll get into all of that. But right now, let me know in the comments what you think the score will be. Some keys to victory, right? It's not just going to happen by accident. The Dolphins got to go out and execute on their keys to victory. What are some of those keys? I think first and foremost, you got to set the tone. Anytime you're a heavy favorite, which the Dolphins are by 6.5, I think there's a tendency maybe to not necessarily come out and hit the other team in the mouth. Maybe hey, we've been reading the headlines. We're way better than this Denver Broncos team. But the Denver Broncos, oddly enough, although they're 0-2, they've played really well at the beginning of games, especially in the first quarter. They've outscored their opponents a combined 20-10 in the first quarter of their first 2 games. And in both of those games, the Broncos actually held a lead in the first half. So gotta believe that's going to be a point of emphasis from Sean Payton and his coaching staff to his guys this week. Hey, we've played well in the first half in both of our games. Now we got to go out and finish. So on the contrary, for the Dolphins, hey, let's go out and punch this team in the mouth early. Let's establish the fact that we are the better team. There's no letdown playing in front of the fans at Hard Rock Stadium, or there can't be a letdown playing in front of the hometown fans for the first time in the 2023 season. So go out, punch the Broncos in the mouth, set the tone early. My second key to victory, and I think you could probably make the case that this is a point and a product of what the Dolphins have done in their first 2 games, but you got to dominate offensively. The Dolphins have the best offense in the National Football League. The Broncos do not have the best defense in the National Football League. In fact, they're very mid, as they say around here. They're very average. They're very mediocre. But look at these numbers from the Dolphins' offense. 2-game sample size, I know, but first in overall offense, 462.5 yards per game. Let me just repeat that so it registers a little bit. 462 yards per game. They're first in passing offense. Tua has been electric, 355 yards per game. And not only are they racking up the yards, but they're also getting the ball in the end zone. They're tied for 3rd in scoring offense with 30 points per game. But if you've watched both games like we have here on Dolphins Today, you know that there's still even more potential for this Dolphins offense. They turned the ball over in the red zone twice against the Chargers in Week 1, and they had the 1 turnover in Week 2. So let's say this Dolphins offense has been exceptional, and they can still play better. So for that, a key to victory is to dominate offensively. And I got to ask you, the performance kind of speaks for itself, but ranking this Dolphins offense amongst the entire National Football League, it's our pinned comment of the day. So if that YouTube ad hits, get down to the comments. 1 through 32, where do you have the Dolphins offense? I've got them as one of the best offenses in the National Football League because of the numbers that back it up. Statistically, they are the best offense in the NFL, and I don't think the 2-game sample size is a fluke. So they got to dominate on offense. And how have they been dominating on offense? Well, Mike McDaniel, Frank Smith, the offensive coordinator, and Tua Tagovailoa have been doing their thing, and they got to keep it up in week number 3. So do your thing, y'all. That's what Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel, and Frank Smith need to continue throughout this NFL season, especially in week 3 against a lesser opponent in the Denver Broncos. So coming up, we'll talk about how good Tua Tagovailoa has been, especially in comparison into the National Football League. But before we go any further, got to let you know that Game Time makes Dolphins Today possible. They're the official sponsor of Dolphins Today, and I love Game Time. It's the only ticketing app I use. In fact, even before I got to Chat Sports, I was using Game Time for all of my ticketing apps. And when I got here, the boss said, "Hey, Game Time's a sponsor." I said, "Great, I love Game Time. You don't even need to show me the copy. I know what Game Time's about. It's the best deals, lowest prices, last minute guaranteed." So if you're like me, you're not necessarily a planner, and sometimes spontaneously you call up the boys, you call up the crew and say, "Hey, we got to get to a game today." Game Time is the app for you. I just used it the other day for a concert nearby. I also used it for a couple of baseball games. I've used it for football games. Doesn't matter. If you want to go see the Dolphins at home at Hard Rock Stadium or on the road, wherever you're going, Game Time is the app for you. Super easy to use. Really nice interface that you have an actual picture of where you'll be sitting. None of these diagrams, none of these renderings, or nothing like that. So download the app today. Use promo code FINSCHAT, PHINSCHAT, for $20 off your first order. Download the app today. Game Time takes the stress out of buying tickets. And when you download the app, because you're a subscriber, you'll get $20 off using FINSCHAT, PHINSCHAT. Terms do apply. Create an account, redeem that code FINSCHAT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. How good has Tua been? Well, he's been that good. Yes, I'm not going to read verbatim to you. All you need to look and see is that first, third. That's pretty dang good. First in pass yards, 715 of them. First in yards per attempt, nearly 10 yards per attempt. He's third with 4 passing touchdowns. And that also could be attributed to Raheem Mostert for his rushing ability, because the offense has been so multi-dimensional, and Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the top quarterback. And oh, by the way, he's your new favorite to win MVP in the National Football League. So that's a crucial part of this game time, or of this game plan against the Denver Broncos. Top offense, Raheem Mostert doing his thing, leading the National Football League with 3 rushing touchdowns. And oh, by the way, Tyreek Hill, I don't know how we've gone this long without mentioning him. He also leads the National Football League with 3 receiving touchdowns. So those keys to victory, the offense has got to do their thing. Absolutely. Mike McDaniel, do your thing, that whole thing. The Dolphins have proven they can do it, but this goes without saying every single game, but I'll say it anyways. Win the turnover battle. We won't spend a lot of time on this because it's really simple. You win the turnover battle, you got a better chance to win. In fact, 78% of the time in the National Football League, when you win the turnover battle, you win the game. Now, the Dolphins proved that wrong in week 1. They did not win the turnover battle. They still won the game. However, every game you go into, you got to have that mindset of taking care of the ball on offense and forcing turnovers on defense. Forcing the turnovers against the Patriots is why, or a big reason why, this Dolphins defense beat the New England Patriots, or helped beat the New England Patriots. And the secondary has been really good. Xavien Howard had the interception. Eli Apple, some room for improvement, sure. Justin Bethel, as a cornerback position, had that sack in week 1. And how about Kader Kohou? He is quickly making the case to be one of the most underrated, in my opinion, criminally underrated, as a cornerback in the National Football League. Second-year guy out of Texas A&M Commerce. He has been special, and we still haven't seen the rookie Cam Smith yet, because those cornerbacks have been so good for the Dolphins in Vic Fangio's first year as defensive coordinator. So I think the defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, will continue to have these guys mesh together and be the unit we know they can be. So one more time, keys to victory. We'll run down it. Set the tone early. You got to dominate on offense if you're the Dolphins. You are the better team in this matchup. So that means Mike McDaniel, Frank Smith, Tua, do your thing, guys. We know what you're capable of. Make it happen on Sunday against the Denver Broncos. And while doing that, let's win the turnover battle because it's football. At any level, you got to win the turnover battle no matter what. And last but certainly not least, this one's interesting because the Denver Broncos are 0-2. And what might be worse, if you will, is the fact that there could be some turmoil amongst Russell Wilson and new head coach Sean Payton. It's only year one, but Sean Payton had some interesting comments to the media in regards to the execution in week 2. I'll basically summarize saying that Sean Payton was upset with the fact they had to burn timeouts because Russ wasn't getting the team set. He wasn't getting the plays off in time. And to read that bottom quote here, we had to burn timeouts in the first half, and I'm not used to doing that. We have to be better. I have to be better. Russ has to be sharper with getting the play out. And then we have to look at how much we have in it. If we need to use a wristband, we will. All right, for those that don't know, the wristband with the plays on it, yeah, I use that in youth football. That's a youth football kind of thing, high school stuff. This is the National Football League. You shouldn't have to use a wristband. What that tells me, Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, not on the same page at all. And the fact that Sean Payton would reveal that information to the media also tells me, hey, maybe he's trying to get to Russell Wilson and say, get it together, man. And I think the Miami Dolphins crowd at Hard Rock Stadium will be loud, and that will make it even more difficult if they couldn't do that at home. I don't see them being able to do it on the road either. And my hope is that the miscommunication, whatever it is, not being on the same page, will continue for the Broncos as they take on the Miami Dolphins. So that's my last key to victory is let's continue to fluster the relationship of Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. But you know what we do here on Dolphins Today? Every now and then we've got bonus content for you, and I've got a bonus key to victory because it was announced earlier this week that the Dolphins are going with, in my humble opinion, arguably the best uniform combination in all of football. That's right, it's the whiteout for the first home game against the Broncos at Hard Rock Stadium. And look at those fresh uniforms. I mean, Tua always looks good. Not going to lie. The white with the aqua pants looked good on Sunday Night Football, but the all white is just so crisp, so clean. So I know it's not a real key to victory. I'm not actually serious here. But anytime you win the swag battle, anytime you win the uniform matchup, that's going to bode well for you. And no disrespect to the Broncos. Their uniforms aren't bad, but they're not the all whites. So who's with me? Do the Dolphins have the best uniform combinations in the National Football League? Type Y for yes, N for no. Best color scheme, best uniforms, overall, freshest fits in the National Football League. It's the Miami Dolphins. Also the helmet, too. So clean. And I love the throwbacks that they wear from time to time as well. And the aqua with the orange. Now you throw in the whiteout for Sunday. Chef's kiss, if you will. So let me know in the comments if you agree with me. Dolphins have the best uniforms in all of the National Football League. And that's why you subscribe, because every now and then we'll get some uniform talk in there, right? Dolphins have the best uniforms in the National Football League. Subscribe to Dolphins Today, where we're talking about uniforms. We're talking about injury news. We're talking about everything that is and around Miami and is and around the Miami Dolphins. That's why you subscribe to Dolphins Today.